Welcome to the Allegro to Footbar podcast. I'm Nora St. John, along with Portia Page. And for this podcast, we're going to talk about position number 3 of the footbar. So Portia's going to move the footbar for us. This is number 1. Position number 2 is directly over the center of the footbar, or the center of the carriage. 3 is more or less right over the shoulder rests. So with the bar in this position, it can be a little tricky to get into. First thing Portia's going to do, though, is change her weight to a blue from a red. This series of exercises is going to focus on some arm work and some core work. She's going to get in like she's getting into her rocket ship seat. She's about to go on a little jumping expedition. And we're going to hold on to the bar. Now, this is going to look a bit like what we did in position number 4, but she's got a whole different range of motion here. So Portia, would you just push through and straighten the arms so they can see the difference there? So when she was in position 4, unless she's very short or has very short arms, she's going to hit the end of the Allegro. So with position 3, she can now get full arm extension, and she can focus now on pushing down rather than pulling up. So really nice variation of arm work to do here. So Portia now, when she goes to the full arm position, you'll notice that the legs are going to have to straighten. That's, going to, depending on how much strength you've got in your core, this may or may not be the best opportunity for somebody. Portia's able to keep her back nice and neutral as those legs lower. So from here, we have just the arm straightens, and we're going to also do some simple stability work here. So Portia's going to actually come on in, Portia, for a second and have your anchor your forearms on here. There we go. So this is a way to start developing the stability for all of this work. Portia's anchoring through her whole shoulder girdle, and she's simply going to take some toe taps, one foot down and the other foot down. And again, she's got the shoulder working, and that means that the low back and the abdominals have to engage to keep her core going. To challenge this, you could take both legs lower, and you want to make sure that low back isn't moving as she does. This is all required to be able to do the more advanced work in this position. And then you can also add a nice twist from here. So Portia can twist her legs to one side and back to center. This is nice to do with a breath, inhaling in one direction, exhaling, and engaging the core as she comes back to center. And she can do that again. The nice thing here is the shoulders can stay very anchored, and the rotation is all happening below the shoulder girdle, getting some nice work through the core and some nice work through the pelvis. Now, we're going to take this into a more advanced version here. Portia started to play with that with the arm straightening. Now we're going to add the head lift, which really takes this into very traditional Pilates repertoire. She can do the 100 here, although you can't really pulse the arms, but you can get into the position of it, or she can go into the coordination. And once this gets comfortable, you can actually add a little arm jumps with this, working through some of that elastic recoil you hear so much about in fascia land these days. So getting some nice strength. Again, core's working, upper body's working, everything's working together. She's adding some leg variations now with nice big scissors. She can do some stag leaps. She could play with frogs. Lots of options here. So this series, position 3, really just has the stability exercises and then goes into this whole hundreds coordination jumping series. That's position 3.